This is a Headgum original.
Vroom, vroom. Beep, beep. Welcome to the pit wall. And howdy, y'all.
Oh, wow. This is like, it looks like cosplay for anybody that doesn't know you well. Because like this is fully in line with something you might wear.
It's one degree away.
These
to
are
cover
my
any other Grand Prix.
Yeah, these are clothes that I have and wear any day, really. I don't think I've ever worn this shirt to the office, but maybe I should. I don't know.
That's a sick shirt. It is.
You should wear it to like a really important record, like a guest who should really have the spotlight, but then you make it your day.
That's a great idea. I'll wait for who's a high profile. The next time Tiffany Haddish is in studio.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Pit Wall. It's an F1 podcast for casual fans. I am your podcast principal, Casey Donahue. I am, of course, joined by Jake. I have no Jakes. Hurwitz.
I'm actually now the king of over-jaking.
If anyone's the king of over-jaking, it's got to be Jake.
That's right.
Andrew, pile up.
Yeah. Why do you? I feel like that's a real word. It's automotive related.
No,
okay.
It's good. I like it.
Yours is just about standard traffic violations.
Marika.
I was
hashtag
to the max.
Hashtag to the max.
Brownlee. And I'll stay that way for now.
What about Marie karting? Marie
That's
karting.
Good.
Wow.
Marie karting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just something to consider.
I could co-opt Blumenfeld's old Switch profile and be Marie Cardi B.
That's good.
Nice.
I like it. I like these options. I like that you have something to think about.
I feel like now I have to change it every race. So maybe I'll think about it more beforehand.
Yeah. It's up to you. Look, when a racer decides on their nickname, it's
a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's a journey of self-discovery that only you can make. And of course, we also have Geoffrey. I don't know if he has a nickname. James.
Plan G.
Plan G.
Plan G. There you
Plan
go.
G's probably the best one.
Sorry.
It's accurate to my personality. Not quite best case scenario.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Definitely
But
seventh
pretty
best
far down the
scenario.
list.
It's a really big cold brew to have afternoon.
Well, it's barely afternoon. This is also my second. I had to wake up at 8 for this sketch shoot.
So you should be awake now.
Yeah.
I am awake. I just love the taste.
I gotcha.
Today we are talking about the U.S. Grand Prix, which took place in Austin, Texas over the weekend, which is why I'm wearing my Texas best. Jake was at the race, and we'll hear all about it after this pre-race prediction from Marika.
Let's
Hey,
go.
y'all, it's Marika coming in from a New Jersey highway with my predictions for the United States GP. First of all, I think Martin Brundle will successfully talk to Brad Pitt, but fail to talk to Pharrell. I think he's not going to give him the time of day. In terms of the race, I think we're not going to get that many DNFs, but I feel like a gust of wind is going to take Latifi out. Sorry to him. And unfortunately, I think Pierre is going to have to retire from brake issues. For the podium places, I really dislike saying it, obviously, but I think Verstappen's going to win. but I do think our boy Carlos Sainz will be in second. And I think we're going to see Bottas in third. I don't know why, but I feel like it could happen. And then
Valtteri coming in 3.
I literally hate to say it, but I think Jake is going to get cucked by Larry Stroll.
I fucking wish. I absolutely wish.
Did you see him on the grid walk?
I did. I took a photo too, and I didn't share it, but he's such a big man. He's huge.
What a big
He's
man.
Scary looking.
He's just a big guy. He's got a big head. He made Martin Brundle look tiny.
Jake, did you manage to get cucked by anybody over the weekend?
Yeah, unfortunately, no. Despite everyone's best efforts, I felt like it could have happened. But at the end of the day, Jill didn't want to stick around the paddock afterwards. She wanted to I guess there was hundreds of thousands of people all trying to get back to downtown Austin, and she felt like it was more important to get onto the shuttle and get to an Uber rather than try to pick up a Bottas or a Gasly, as it were. Oh yeah, there we are.
So upset.
Jill is getting finger blasted by the guy to her right. So I was cucked. It turns out I was cucked.
Just you
by
look
a Mercedes fan.
It looks like it's your birthday, and it looks like she is being sued.
It is her. This was my birthday present, but Jill had a great time. She had a great time. She loved it.
I saw her story that was post. It's lap 50 of 56 and I'm finally having fun.
She did finally. At one point she was like, there's 100 more of these, and I was like, no, there's 56, and she was like, it's not 156. And I was like, no.
She's got that NASCAR mindset.
Yeah. She thought the race was going to be another 2 hours. Yeah, I think when she found out that it was 6 laps from being over, she perked up and got excited.
That's something that I feel like I've noticed with American F1 fans. Anyone that I know in my life, aside from you guys who got me into it, but anyone else I've talked to who watches Drive to Survive or something, or friends I've tried to have watch a race with me, they're always isn't it 5 hours long? Don't they do several hundred laps? And it's no, that's the NASCAR mindset.
Don't they just go in a circle? Everyone just thinks they go in a circle.
Yeah. That's interesting that everybody has that. That's the barrier that everyone has to get over. Once you realize it's only 50-ish laps, usually it's oh, okay. The race the race started after the Padres Phillies game started and ended before that one ended. So I was able to watch the end of the baseball game and also watch an entire car race. It's not that hard to watch a race. Anyone out there who's listening who hasn't watched
this
a
one
race.
was easy. This one was easy because it was at noon Pacific, so I was having a great time. I literally woke up at 11:55 and was well rested to watch the race.
Yes,
in bed still. It is kind of hard to watch these at 5 fucking a.m.
Well, sure, if you're watching it live.
Yeah, but not watching it live doesn't work for me, I've decided. I need to be a part of the group chat. I need to feel the energy of this is happening in fucking Bahrain or whatever right now.
Sure.
Bahrain?
Right.
Bahrain, yeah.
That's that second cold brew hitting you.
I think I'm the only one that likes getting up early and watching these because I get it out of the way.
Getting up early.
Yeah, I think it's great. But I agree. This
incredible.
is the first one that I had to watch on
for
replay.
You guys.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's so different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff and I have to wake up before the sun.
You woke up at 11. That's crazy. That's so late.
Yeah, but they're all on Sundays. I go out on Saturdays, man.
I go out on Saturdays sometimes too. I still get up at 7 because I'm an adult.
At 7, I could do 7. I can't do 4:45.
Okay. All right.
But I will say that for the first episode, cheers. For the first episode, I think me being tired helped me perform on the show. Now I'm at a stasis and I don't know what to say.
Well, I'd like to hear a little bit more from Jake since he was on the scene, saw the race live, got to walk around, see the faces, see the places. Mm-hmm. What do you got for us, Jake?
It's funny. I mean, I'm so focused on the infrastructure around the race. I could talk a lot about the Uber, the shuttle.
I'm curious about all
the walk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because there was more people at Austin this year than any year before. They said there was over 400,000 people in attendance.
That makes sense. Knowing that, I'm actually surprised it was as smooth as it was, but it was a shit show. It was like the only place you could get dropped off in your Uber was this high school 3 miles away from the circuit. And once you get dropped off at the high school, it was like some traffic to get there, not that bad. And then everybody walks to these like yellow school buses. All seems fine. These school buses should have a closed road to get to the racetrack. But instead, they came out of the high school and got off near the highway where all of the Ubers were getting off, and then sat in the same traffic as all of the pedestrians going to like try to park or all of the, drivers driving their private cars. So it was just this big clusterfuck of like hundreds and hundreds of school buses with hundreds of people on them sitting in just regular ass traffic. But there should have been some level of like priority to get us there.
Yeah.
And then you get dropped off and you're still a 20-minute walk from the actual, circuit. Mm-hmm. So I was definitely stressed that I was going to miss the race because Jill wanted to get granola in the morning. So it was a near run event.
So how long did it take you to get there then? If you thought you were like, how much time did you give yourself to go to the race? And then
I wanted to get there at noon so I could kind of wander around for like 2 hours. And we ended up getting there with all of the traffic and the shuttle insanity. I walked in at 1:30. So I just went straight to my seats. And then I was like, you know what? I'll go around kind of like after the race. But then I ended up being able to like go out a little bit during the race because after the first lap, I was a lot less interested in the
race. What stuff was around your guys' grandstand? Because at the Canada race, it was like every grandstand area was kind of its own, like they had things around it. And then there was like the main area where like merch booths and stuff were.
I think ours was more of just like a COTA like a Circuit of the Americas themed area. There was like the Haas Hill was something I walked over towards. So I think they were like further away from me. I'm sure that there were like sponsored grandstands and stuff, but I was just on grandstand 15 and there wasn't really any like branding anywhere around us. But it was sick. It was very, very cool.
Did you feel like, to me, it felt like it was kind of like being at a weird sports convention because it's not like one versus the other. It was just like a bunch of people and like with supporting like 10 different teams.
Yeah,
did you feel it was like
interesting. Like in our section, there was a bunch of Ferrari people behind me, but then like Mercedes family next to them, and then like a bunch of Red Bull people in front of us, and nobody was like. I think at one point the Mercedes and Red Bull guy like literally high-fived. There isn't like a huge, at least at this place, at least in my grandstand, there was no like. I feel like I've been to a Yankee game where somebody's wearing a Red Sox hat and everybody's like yelling at them. That definitely didn't happen. And then like all night that night in Austin, I'd be like walking down the street and just see like a bunch of McLaren hats walking toward me. And I was like, okay, we're going to have to fight these guys. But they didn't. Jill went home with one of them, but that was fine.
They did get cooked.
Yeah.
It is
Lando.
Well, it was Lando.
So it's nice to hear that at Haas's home race, they don't really act like Yankee fans in Yankee Stadium. They're not. The Haas fans aren't roaming the circuit.
I've been a fan of Haas ever since they started making that mechanically controlled automation equipment. I mean, before the racing stuff even. I just love their CNC machines. I love what they've done for the manufacturing industry. So do not talk shit about Haas to me.
I'm not talking shit about Haas. I'm talking shit about their fans.
Okay.
And clearly
Every week, it's hard for me not to make Pile my little bitch of the day. There were so many to choose from for this race, though.
there were a lot happened in this race. So let's go ahead and get into it. We do have a few DNFs.
Ugh.
First up, Carlos Sainz, a devastating DNF for Carlos.
I mean, especially for me, right? Like, I literally went to Texas to watch him race. I truly did. It was so insane. It was so insane. We watched the start, and then I was like, just when that happened, I was like, was that Carlos? That wasn't Carlos. It couldn't have been. And then like all the whispers near me, because I'm not watching on TV. You can't really see what's going on. And then all these whispers near us, they're like, that was Sainz. It was Sainz. It was Sainz. And then they come down near my turn because the replay still hasn't gone on. And I just see no signs at all. No signs of signs. And Jill is like, wait, what happened? What happened? I was like, that was Carlos. He got into an accident. And then I was like, yeah, he's going to be out of the race. But then we saw him. He was in 19th place on that first lap. And I was like, oh, he's still in it. He's still in it. And I was like, okay, he might be able to finish in the points somehow. And then they just showed on the screen.
Out of the garage.
Yeah, rolling it back in.
And it was a real low point.
This was the worst race for you specifically with who DNF. It was a targeted attack on you being in Austin.
Like this, I feel like this happened wasn't it in the Australian Grand Prix where Carlos didn't finish?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I remember as soon as he was out of the race, I turned the TV off. That's usually what I do. But here, I was at the race. My favorite driver, but truly, by the end of it, all of my favorite drivers were out of the race.
You kept trying to flag someone down, asking them to turn off the monitors. Like, we don't, just turn it all off. Don't need to see anymore.
Home. Everyone can go home now.
Huge bummer. He got T-boned by George Russell in the opening lap.
And I've been a Russell apologist for a long time.
Of course it's George.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This fucking guy.
It always seems to be George.
Yeah, he's everywhere you don't want him to be all the time.
Mr. Consistency, just because he consistently sucks ass.
Carlos in his post-race interviews was just so sad, but like defeated, and all the things that he was saying. I mean, it's completely true that he's just like been the most unlucky person ever this entire season. But he was like, so many races that I don't even complete one lap.
And it's 6 DNFs or 7 DNFs this season.
It's crazy.
Sucks.
And he also, when they asked him like specifically about the George crash, he was like, driver mistakes. And I pay the price again.
Jesus.
God, poor guy. He made his saddest Instagram post yet. The black and white photo.
I mean,
I didn't see that. I'm looking at it now.
So pensively.
He's definitely depressed because that DNF pretty much took him out of podium contention for the championship. So it's a real bummer for him.
Truly, Russell cannot finish above Sainz. I think is an injustice.
That's unacceptable to me too.
Yeah,
something must be done.
They are close.
We can do it.
They are
we
still
should join the
pretty close in the points. There's a 16-point difference between them, but and you know what? With what is it? 3 races left? 2? 2 or 3.
We just need 2 Russell DNFs, which is possible.
Yeah, I'm saying we join the Mercedes pit team, and then we go to change Russell's tires. We pull a fucking Verstappen on their ass.
Yeah,
we're like, we can't get the tire on because we wouldn't actually be able to anyway.
Yeah, we'd be trying our hardest, and we wouldn't know what we're doing.
I was watching something where someone was like, they were talking about the pit strategy and like how they practice that, and they said like, if you don't place the gun in the correct place, you could break your wrist. Like, they're so heavy, and like just the amount of power that goes into replacing the tires. So
Jesus,
we have one shot maybe before we're severely injured trying, but I think we can do it.
If they somehow don't notice that it's us walking around the garage, standing around, having no idea what's going on for the first hour.
All we need is a Mercedes hat.
I really want Carlos to do what George is currently doing, and take the fastest lap away from him whenever he's in a position where he's not going to get points or not going to be on the podium.
Did George get the fastest lap?
He did.
He did.
Which sucked.
I thought there was a chance that I was like hoping so much that he would put those on. Everyone would get it within 5 seconds of him, wouldn't get the fastest lap, but fuck them. It worked out.
Yeah. I also really liked when, like over Carlos's radio, his engineer just said he was touched from Mercedes.
Yeah.
I didn't like that George on the radio was like, he cut across me, and then but the commentators were like, well, you didn't exactly do that, George, but all right, I can see why you think that.
He was so aggressively like, I was on the right, and I was like, no.
No, you weren't.
I can't believe he only got a 5-second penalty. Like, he did stuff with no consequence.
Yeah,
no consequence at all.
But then Fernando gets a 30-second penalty. I'm like, that should be a 30-second penalty.
Yeah, so you're doling him out.
Yeah,
give one to fucking George.
I don't know. I guess the commentator's logic was like, it's the first turn, everything's crazy. Like, you can't really stop anyway. Your tires are cold.
I guess. But
if that's your logic, that it was just an accident and they really couldn't have prevented it, then why give him any penalty at all? It's like,
right. Great point.
I did like Ted Kravitz said at some point later in the race that I know they like steaks down here, but that was a T-bone.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah, that was a good line.
Yeah, not really though, because a T-bone steak's good.
Yeah, T-bone is a steak. So I don't understand the butt part of it, but
maybe I'm misquoting him. That's just what I wrote down in my notes. I mean, Ted Kravitz is a pretty sharp guy. I wouldn't want to.
Fair enough.
And it happened like in the middle of the race?
It was much later in the race that they threw to him.
It's like he came up with it. Yeah. And he's like, all right, hey, ask me about
pretty much the entire race to come up with that. I mean, he's got a shtick every race now where he was like trying to sign Gasly's like car damage the other race. He's like with the Sharpie, like he's great.
Something he said towards the end of the race that was about how the race was finishing, and his commentary on it. They showed a shot of Brad Pitt, and then he was like, Brad Pitt, a Hollywood story. You can't write a story like this, Brad Pitt. Real racing is improvised.
Not a screenwriter.
So I think that was Martin Brundle.
Yeah, I think Martin was very salty about how he got treated by Brad Pitt earlier on.
Upset.
Yeah, and Brad Pitt had no idea who he was, because he tried to stop him in the grid walk, and Brad Pitt like literally pushed him away, and then some bodyguard grabbed him from the back, and like Martin was like. First of all, he said that's what's known as a pit stop, which is pretty funny. But he was then kind of insulted Brad Pitt for the remainder of the race whenever he was
multiple times. And I don't blame him. Like, Brad Pitt visited every paddock and is making this F1 movie or whatever. Like, you should maybe know what's going on and why you're on the grid in the first place.
I didn't know he was making an F1 movie. That's sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, they talked about it on the broadcast throughout the whole thing.
See.
Yeah.
I hadn't tuned in for I hadn't tuned in yet. Sorry.
I can't hear you. Oh.
Do you have my microphone?
I hadn't yet tuned in to the broadcast for this Brad Pitt thing, but I pulled up the video if we want to listen to the audio.
Yeah, let's listen to the audio.
But, let's see if we can have a chat with Brad Pitt. Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to talk to the guy behind you. Brad, Martin Brundle, Sky F1. How are you doing?
We gotta go.
Thank you. Can you tell us a bit about this movie?
No, not yet. Top secret.
You've enjoyed the weekend. I've seen you so much this weekend.
Thank you, man.
All right, good. Somebody grabbing hold of my shoulder. I think, obviously, they're known as pit stops if they don't want you to talk to Brad Pitt. But
that's really good. The pit
He's
stop
really
line
physically
is really
struggling to keep up.
There's somebody
Do you have the
grabbing
audio
hold
of
of
him
my
talking
shoulder.
to Trey Cool from Green Day?
Do you have
Like,
that?
do you remember this?
Yeah.
Why was Green Day? What was like the Green Day presence?
They were
I don't know. I mean,
playing
he's
there,
like,
I
"Why are
think.
you here?" And Trey Cool's like, "Oh, I'm here for the Aston Martin because they're the green team." I was like, "That's pretty cheesy." But then he said the most insane like string of. So he did this with the Black Eyed Peas the other week, where he said, "Hey, let's get it started" to him when he was in the pit lane. To what's his name?
Will I Am?
Will.i.am, yeah. And then this week he's like, I mean, do you have this audio?
Yeah, I have it right here.
All right, play this.
Or this isn't Will.i.am. This is Trey Cool.
Yeah, this is Trey Cool. This is great.
how are you?
Good.
Welcome to paradise.
Yeah, man, all right.
This could be a boulevard of broken dreams, but you look like you're having the time of your life.
All right. Well, we're here to support the green team, Aston Martin.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. But like, this is his thing: is that he somehow just says the name of the song.
Pit Stop, Boulevard of Broken Dreams. Very good.
I feel like someone was just feeding him. Like someone knows to feed him.
Someone must be giving it to him in his headphones
or something.
Yeah,
right.
It's insane. Anyway,
yeah,
that was a highlight.
Incredible coverage as always from the Sky Sports team. Next on the grid, DNF for Valtteri Bottas, which was another huge highlight of the race.
Yeah, that was sad. What happened? He just
spun
engine
out.
failure.
They said spun and beached.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
It was on the gravel.
Yeah.
Apparently, Bottas drove there on a Harley.
Yeah,
that's sick.
He was wearing a
cool
shirt,
guy. The finish
really cool
can't
shirt.
finish. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
that happened lap 19, and seemingly he said it was just driver error.
Yeah,
which is sad. The wind got
It's
him.
sad. I feel like Bottas is just off form. He's not on his game at all.
Yeah, I would agree.
I was confused. Sorry about it. Wasn't a huge highlight. Valtteri Bottas DNFing. It was Lance Stroll was the big highlight. DNF.
This is wild.
Yeah,
that was
fucking just T-boned, not T-boned. I just wanted to say it, but jacked by that's his future teammate, right?
His future
that's the guy that he's going to be racing with next year.
Yeah.
Just fucking rear ends him.
His future
rams him like
teammate,
it's a go-kart.
And I believe, according to Ted's notebook after the race, Fernando filed a complaint against Stroll because of that incident after the race. He was trying to say that it was Stroll's error that made him hit him like that. And Ted's going on about how these are future teammates, and he's putting in a complaint against him already.
Yeah, that was an ugly accident too.
Post-race stuff that happened specifically around that accident, and I do feel like I don't know. I was seeing on social media a lot of people being like, "Lance, it was Lance's fault," but I don't understand why, outside of the fact that he did sort of last minute move to the left, but I don't understand why he doesn't have the right to do that, I guess.
I mean, I guess it could be a a late defensive move, like he tried to block the line like a hair too late, maybe. But they're driving very fast out there, and sometimes half a second might
Alonso
feel like a full second.
So close behind him, which feels like don't do that. I don't know.
That's wild that car survived. Like, I feel like we see cars just like bump the wall and their tail falls off, and this one flew in the air,
was nearly
landed,
airborne.
Yeah, like clipped the wall going 200 miles an hour or whatever, and then just like finished the race with that car.
Yeah,
they did change some stuff,
and finished pretty strongly too.
Yeah,
like battling till the end.
They just switched out the wing, and he like kept racing.
Yeah,
I was really kind of blown away by Fernando there, but
did they actually switch?
They
part of his car?
They pit him and they switched the wing.
Okay,
out.
I remember his mirror fell, and also the whole reason that he got a penalty was because they said he was driving with unsafe parts of the car.
Right.
Yeah. Which, like, wouldn't you have to prove that they knew that the mirror was screwed up? I don't know. Maybe they didn't know that, and they just let him know.
That just I don't know what he got the black and orange flag for, but I also
the most unsafe part of the car was him.
Nice.
It was truly wild. Also, like a piece of, I guess, Lance's tire exploded and fell off. And I was watching the race with friends, and one of my friends truly thought like a person flew out of the car because it looked like a body just being like flung in the air. It was really crazy.
Yeah,
when that replay was showing, Jill was like absolutely horrified. She was reacting like it was.
Yeah, how did everyone react there as it happened? I know you said you had like slight visibility, but
yeah, we saw like something happen. There was like, it was on the straightaway towards the turns where we were, so we could kind of see like the cars coming, but we couldn't see anything beyond just like some like smoke basically, and we could tell something happened. I thought it was, from our vantage point, everybody was, like gasping and shocked, and it looked like it was a much bigger accident than it ended up being. Like, it looked like it involved like 4 or 5 cars. I thought it was going to be a red flag.
Yeah.
And then everyone finds out it's Stroll and starts high-fiving and
I did feel bad for him.
I was legit rooting for Stroll this race. He's had 2 awesome starts.
Yeah.
He was up in the pack. He was like, I was actually kind of like, you know what? I could get into this.
There's something that's nicer.
I've liked him for a long time. Everyone's coming around now.
Kind of.
I told Marika I was hoping for a Stroldium.
Yeah.
Or maybe I told all you guys, actually. It was on the thread. But yeah, goddamn.
Yeah, before the crash, he did make it all the way up to P3. So it was looking,
and it's nicer to see him up there than George Russell or fucking Checo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did. It was the only consolation that I was watching George Russell behind him for a few laps. That was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. An unfortunate finish for Stroll, but a badass finish for Alonso. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. But right now we got to talk about Nicholas Latifi, who came in 17th.
And spun at one point, right? I don't know. Who cares?
Yeah.
He spun out.
My
got a penalty.
prediction was right that he did get caught by a gust of wind.
That's true.
A gust of wind bested Latifi.
Latifi got a 5-second penalty for pushing Mick Schumacher off the track. That's his big highlight of the race.
I think being
he also
there,
did
like
say he made a driver mistake when he spun out too, which is really funny.
The mistake is I'm driving it all.
Yeah, oh, that's really good.
Like when you're at the race, it's so evident how much more he sucks than anybody else. Like everyone will go by. Their engines are loud. They're jockeying. They're driving smooth, and then like 10 seconds, 15 seconds goes by, and then just a little Matchbox car, Nick Latifi zips by, and truly everyone in the stands applauded, and I think it was sarcastic every single time he went by.
Absolutely.
And I also
was
saw
in his grandstand, and that was the vibe.
That's really
I saw
funny.
2 people wearing of everybody, like the hundreds of thousands of people. I saw only 2 people wearing Williams shirts, and I'm convinced that they worked there.
A crowd of people going like, yeah, sarcastically is so funny.
Every
30
time.
seconds behind everyone else.
Every time.
Well, Latifi, we'll miss you when you're gone.
You're gonna miss me when I'm gone. The cup game
song.
16th, Daniel Ricciardo.
That was sad.
Not a great
That
race.
Jake, can you describe what Daniel Ricciardo was doing this entire race? Because there was no coverage of him. He just disappeared. It felt like he drove off into Texas and never came back.
Well, he would love that.
He wants to,
Yeah.
For a while he was doing the Latifi thing where he was just so far behind the pack. He was like 20 seconds behind everybody. It was like he wasn't even close to Latifi, and it was so disheartening to watch every single time.
Yeah,
like I could feel Danny's sadness.
Apparently around like lap 5 or so, he said over comms that the car has no pace, and who knows how much of it was the car and how much of it was him being like, it has no pace, so fuck it, I guess, you know. I'll drive behind.
Sure, his
Nicholas.
post-race interview was similarly like but it was like the way that he not made up excuses, but it just felt like he was making up excuses because he was so disheartened and was just like, I don't know, this entire year, that's all it's been. And it's like, how?
Yeah. And he was having the most fun before the race. Like he was riding on a horse down the paddock.
Horsey McHorsey.
Had a fire drop before the race for Texas. Almost bought a shirt. It was too expensive. But then for him to like, you know, do all that and then like give up a couple laps into the race is like, come on, man.
Yeah.
He's just obsessed with Texas. I think that's all like he knows he's on the out and his career might be over. So why not ride in on a fucking horse and then not give it his whole rip pussy?
Well, apparently he will be a reserve driver next year is where he's landed, but they haven't said what team. And it seems like the only 2 teams with a reserve driver spot are Red Bull and Mercedes. So
that's cool.
Yeah, I would hope it's Mercedes.
I think it'd
really
be pretty cool if it was
Mercedes.
I kind of want it to be Red Bull. I think it'd be really funny if like Max Verstappen was out with appendicitis or something and Daniel Ricciardo had to take his place.
Well, I guess that'd be good for us because then he'd like come in 17th or 18th and Red Bull would be lower in the constructors. So yeah, I hope it's Red Bull too.
But don't you kind of want him, like, I don't know. I feel like I would much rather he kick George out than like every week be hoping George is injured so that we can see Danny.
I agree.
That's true.
And I also think like Danny needling George all the time would make for great content.
Yeah.
Like I think Max and Checo can take it, but I think George has basically no sense of humor and I think would basically be really spooked by the presence of Danny Ricciardo haunting the garage every week.
Someone everyone likes naturally.
Yeah, exactly. Way more than him.
That's really true. Yeah. George's worst nightmare.
Yeah, that is a good point. Did you see the sketch essentially that they filmed with the guy that does the F1 impressions?
Yeah.
No.
He's pretty funny.
Yeah, it was George, this guy, Connor something, who does the impressions, and then Toto Wolff. And basically he was just doing a George impression, and then George walks in and Toto's like, take off the mask, because he was wearing like full suit or whatever. But yeah, it was a lot of George being like not equipped to do comedy. Tried his best.
I'd love to see, you know what? I'd love to see all these guys get together and do a Herald. I think it'd be really fun to watch.
God, it's my worst nightmare.
George and Latifi mono scene.
Latifi's so busted. He's so fucking ugly. I'm sorry to be mean like this, but he's such an uggo.
Is he? Maybe he's
lay
improv
off the
hot,
sun.
He has bad skin?
Yeah, like fucking get the CeraVe, you know, the fucking moisturizer in the under
Your
eyes.
third CeraVe reference in a week.
Marika, I will audit you. I'll furlough you. I'm sorry. Who's the next driver? We're so
The next
low
driver.
on the grid.
The next driver, Fernando Alonso in 15th.
Unbelievable.
Was this?
Well, he finished
this was,
P7,
yeah, I was gonna say,
right? Yeah.
Or
He got
C7
a
with
post-race
before
penalty.
penalty,
Yeah.
which is incredible.
Yeah, but for him to finish where he did after that crash was I don't want to give any spoilers, but it was hottie behavior, really.
If you
In a word, hot.
It was hot. Crashed the car and finished the race in the
Yeah,
points. That's fucking
resilience.
hot.
Wow. Casey, you're sweating.
I love the passion.
I'm wearing a lot of clothes right now, and
It's gonna be hard to get them off to fap to that. Cut that out.
Leave that in.
14th, Mick Schumacher.
Truly didn't
Poor little
notice
guy.
him do anything the entire time. And I was there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he
I
got
think
pushed
his
off the
car
track.
got damaged.
Yeah, that was about it for another driver who I'm assuming won't be racing next season.
Yeah. If he wasn't Michael Schumacher's son, this would be a non-issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's not actually that exciting to watch.
Yeah.
He's a sweetheart. He's really nice. I think that's why I root for him. But you have to be a George Russell. You can't be a Mick Schumacher.
I'm really interested to see Drive to Survive next year because I feel like Haas has gotten no coverage and they really just are consistently not finished in the points or maybe 9th or 10th.
Yeah. Yeah, and it sounds like Gunther was mad after this race because they had previously Haas had taken damage to the car and they were told they had to retire the car, even though Gunther's like, we just got to switch out the wing. What the hell? But they let Checo drive today with the damaged wing. They didn't make him retire. So apparently he went off on the FIA.
Which honestly, good, because I don't understand why Checo did not get a post-race penalty like Alonso, even if it wasn't as bad. Like,
yeah. Well,
Red Bull suffers
they were just like,
no consequences.
Yeah, it's that Red Bull bias
fine.
I keep hearing about.
I believe in it.
Interesting. Next on the grid, Pierre Gasly, 13th.
This poor little guy. The entire race, it just felt like the FIA was ragging on him.
Yeah, he got a
He gets
penalty.
the penalty, and then he had to do the penalty again because he didn't do the penalty right.
Yeah.
What was his penalty? I didn't hear any of it.
He was
I think it was
following
track limit.
the safety car He was either too far.
That was
It
another
was too
one.
far away.
or not close enough.
Which was also kind of a BS penalty because
that
he was
one
going around
sucked.
a turn and I forget who was in front of him, but they just like tore off like on a straight and he like kind of leisurely didn't catch. I mean, it was still behind a safety car and it's just like.
Yeah, that's the same penalty as fucking George.
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy.
He got that one. I think he did get a track limits penalty, and that's the one that he didn't serve correctly, maybe.
Oh, did he?
I don't. Yeah,
I feel like
I just
3
feel like
people got
every
that.
single time there was a notification, it was for Pierre Gasly, and I felt really bad for him.
Yeah.
Well, he called him out. That's why. He shat in the FIA's sandbox, and now
That's correct.
now they're
That's
coming back at
correct.
him.
They wanted to be able to almost kill him, and he wasn't right to say that.
They were trying to
shouldn't have
eliminate-
almost killed. Yeah,
Yeah, the squeaky gear.
I do like that Gunther complained though,
Yeah.
and also complained about the Red Bull stuff a lot. I think, or
He did.
was it him or was it one of the drivers?
One of the Haas drivers?
I thought it was, but maybe it wasn't. Never mind.
I would guess it's Gunther that was complaining, and was it Zach Brown that like wrote a letter about it also, or something? Like everyone was
something
really
like
coming
that.
for Red Bull this week, which
Well, they're
is
going to get
great
away with
watch.
it.
They're getting away with it.
yeah,
It's crazy.
I read a headline that was just like Red Bull is negotiating their punishment with the FIA. It's like that doesn't seem like they should be allowed to fucking. It's truly like Horner just being able to call Michael Massey all the time last year. It's such a weird thing. The punishments should not happen with the guy in the room.
Yeah, that's something that I feel like I'm learning about this sport, watching it this season, is when I first started like watching it and like all the penalties or like this is under review or something. I'm like, okay, well they're gonna figure it out and then they're gonna go by the rules and give the penalties based on whatever's supposed to happen. The way that I watch any sport and expect that's how it'll be governed. But now it's like, it's very clearly like, when they go to review it, it's like, what do we do? They're kind of seem to make up what the penalty needs to be on a case-by-case basis, and it is clearly being seen as pretty biased.
Yeah. Only because it is.
Yeah. Yeah. But I can't stop watching this thing.
It's still great. It's still great.
12 on the grid, Alex Albon.
I heard one of the commentators say that when Lando was kind of like weaving his way up, that Albon was Lando's hero. How old is Albon? They're like, he had a poster of Albon in his room before he was in the F1.
Like a childhood hero.
How young is
Really?
Lando is the real question.
Lando's 19, I think.
No,
but
Lando's 22.
Lando's
Okay.
11.
boy energy.
Alex
the biggest
Albon
boy
is
energy of
26.
anybody.
He's 4 years older than him.
Yeah, but
I guess
Lando has a great online presence. So maybe he's just been
Okay.
following him,
Yeah.
watches his Twitch.
He's deeply online.
Lando Norris has a life-size poster of Alex Albon hung in his bathroom.
It must be such a good joke, it seems.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Which could not be funny to to Lando's girlfriend, right? It's like, it's
does
crazy to
seem like
be
it
22 and that rich and have like dumbass taste like that.
Yeah.
It does seem like it was out of admiration. This is an article from 2019. And Albon is saying that the fact that he has a poster of him makes him feel old, but also pretty cool and weird at the same time.
Very wild.
Huh, I really don't know what to make of this.
Yeah.
I don't
It's
understand.
insane.
Yeah, okay. Now I think it's sweet again.
Yeah. Hey, look, they're all just a bunch of freaks. Next on the grid, Zhou Guanyu.
I hate to say this, but I'm really glad he didn't finish in the points.
Why? Why is that?
Why?
Why are you really glad?
I like when Joe goes slow.
Okay.
That's good. I actually like when Joe goes slow too.
His personality is
really-
flat. I'm sorry. It's like his ass.
Okay.
I really liked his outfit. His I feel like, you know, every driver was kind of doing the Texas thing when they arrived, wearing cowboy hats, cowboy boots, variations of that. And he was like, you know what America reminds me of? Jeans. And wore a full denim outfit that was really cool looking. So I admire him for that
good.
and his creativity. I was really paying attention to a lot of the like Americana vibes of the weekend.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
rating
I have a
them.
question. Does Horner usually wear jeans?
We'll get to
'Cause
that.
he was wearing jeans.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Let's not talk about it yet.
Well, okay,
Fine.
we won't talk about it yet. But there was a reason for the jeans. Next on the grid, Esteban Ocon in 10th. I think he got bumped up, didn't he? Because of that Alonso
Right,
penalty.
right.
Spider-Man helmet.
He had a Spider-Man helmet?
Yeah.
Oh.
And that was his
That's cool.
American tribute.
He had a pit lane start to start the race. Ended. He finished 11th, but ends up in 10th. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Only pretty good though, because there were 3 DNFs.
Yeah.
Remember.
Sure.
A few penalties. His teammate got knocked out.
Okay. I mean, look, I'm trying to give him a little bit of credit, but if you guys want to just strip him of everything
I
he's
prefer to
earned
shit on
Mid-tier.
Ocon. Yeah.
Fair enough. 9th place, Yuki Tsunoda.
You mean Dookie Poo No Duh.
God.
Yes, I'm sorry.
That's
I get it
right.
wrong every week.
I also don't know what he was up to, but happy for him. He got some points.
The only thing I have down is it might have been in quali or it could have been early in the race, but AlphaTauri was telling him to not race Pierre, and he apparently I haven't heard it, but Ted Kravitz was talking about it. He went off on the radio on his engineers because he was mad that he wanted to race Pierre and was yelling about Pierre, was yelling about the team, and he just kind of threw a little hissy fit. It sounds like.
Dookie is a
funny.
child.
Yeah.
It's so funny that they're like so positioned as like, I don't know, like older brother, younger brother vibes in terms of their team presence. So to like hear them constantly fighting like that works to me.
Did we talk on this show about like the video of them like saying what their least favorite day on the track is, the two of them?
No.
It was on an Instagram reel or something. It was so funny because like they're trying to make that, you know, just like driver teammate content. And Pierre is like talking about the day that one of his friends died in an accident. And then Yuki Tsunoda, they didn't record this at the same time, but he's like, whenever they run out of waffles in the breakfast, I forget exactly what Yuki said, but it was something equivalent of like just like a dumb joke about like not having food that he likes. Yeah. Just caught with fucking someone's friend dying on the track. But I remember from the race, they were battling a lot. Watching the race live definitely made me realize like why it's more fun to like, you know, root for teams in the middle of the pack. Yeah. There's so much more action going on there. Like they're going three abreast through the turns.
Yeah.
So that was super fun. I was rooting really hard for Gasly to overtake Yuki, but it didn't happen.
I think Yuki gained the most places of anybody.
Really?
Where did he start?
It wasn't Charles?
Maybe.
Right, because Charles had the penalties.
He started P12 and finished P3.
Yeah.
Good man.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Eighth on the grid, Kevin Magnussen.
Yeah, he
Haas in the
points.
points.
Proud of him.
Yeah.
Good man.
K-Mag had that great battle in the last lap. Who's he fighting with? Let me check my notes.
It was with Vettel,
With
driver
Vettel.
of the day.
Vettel, the driver of the day.
Incredible battle.
They were going at it at the end, and I love to see a Haas fighting with the car instead of just kind of just like, okay, go ahead, it's all right.
Go
You can
ahead.
pass
I'm
me.
in a Haas, after all.
So it was
The
really cool to see
Schumacher
him
fighting for his life.
battling.
Crikey. I almost killed Sainz. Crikey.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if we want to talk about Vettel, he
So fun.
crushed it.
Sure,
I
I'll
loved
say,
watching him.
I'll say Sebastian Vettel was in 7th place, but
Yeah.
he had a great
He
race.
was in first for a bit.
Was Sebastian Vettel takes the lead of the race. Great thing to hear. Love to hear it.
If he didn't have that terrible pit stop, like where should he have placed? Like he should have podiumed, right? Like that would have like put him in second or third, maybe.
I can't tell really, because like anytime someone's up in front early on in the race, I'm like, oh, I want to feel like they have a shot. But the Red Bulls always catch up to everybody.
Yeah.
So it's hard to tell like if he would have podiumed or not, because there are faster cars.
Well, I think he could have stayed in front of the Mercedes because it didn't seem like he was having a problem doing that.
Yeah.
But
I think he
faster than
probably
everybody.
would have finished ahead of Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah. Anything that put more distance between the podium and George Russell, I was for, but it didn't work out.
I just liked seeing it was like Vettel, Ham, Leclerc. It was great. I was like, this is ideal. This is just a crazy, good old time 2021 vibes race.
Yeah. That was fun racing.
Yeah. Next on the grid, in 6th place, Lando Norris.
He had
a good race.
Pretty good drive.
I gained some respect for Lando during this race. He had a couple overtakes. He was just like, he dropped down because of a pit stop, I think, or something. And like, he was just fighting his way through the crowd, and he was attacking in a way that was interesting and good driving.
I think
My thing with Lando.
He took a little
What's your
damage.
thing with Lando?
He's an annoying little twerp, and his personality is bad. His personality is that he goes live. Anyone can go live.
What about his DJing?
You can only go
That's
live
even
if you have a
worse. I
certain
didn't
amount
know
of
about that.
followers.
And then he makes Danny look bad, obviously. Danny also makes himself look bad, but last year at least he made Danny look worse. And I just didn't appreciate how, I don't know. I just think this race made me appreciate his driving more. I think he is better than I thought.
You think his personality kind of takes the driver's seat, so to speak, sometimes for him, when really you'd like to see his driving skills be in the forefront.
That's exactly how I would phrase it, yeah.
Okay, great. Next on the grid, George Russell in 5th place. Boo. We hate to see it. We apparently have decided George Russell on this podcast is the main villain.
I was into George Russell as recently as last week. You guys remember? I was a George Russell apologist.
I've always kind of liked George Russell, but
No more.
As the weeks go on, it kind of his true nature seems to be showing itself.
Yeah.
I like him as a villain. I think it's fun.
I love him as a villain.
I think, I don't know. There's something I just can't place about his personality. And I'm really trying to figure it out. But
he's I kind of know. He's kind of like a wiener narcissist a little bit. He's like not quite strong enough to be like a strongman narcissist. He's not enough of a winner. He's almost like he's a villain's sidekick who thinks he's the main hero.
Yeah.
I think he's wound very tight, and I think he can be very emotional because of that. And I think that makes you a little bit sad for him sometimes. But for the most part, he's a twerp. So
yeah,
I also didn't like his
he's a
at
twat.
least like when he was making the jump from Williams to Mercedes. I didn't like the entitled attitude that he had, where he was upset that one race because they hadn't even decided yet. Not even that he hadn't gotten it. They just hadn't decided. And he was like huffing and puffing all over the paddock. I'm like, you don't deserve this necessarily. Like if you get it, you do, but you're not like entitled to it. So I didn't like that.
I liked I was just scrolling through Twitter after the race, and there are so many good memes. There was like someone put together a video of him just like power walking through the grid, and someone was like, why does he power walk everywhere? Like they like said it to Britney Spears, and I was having a great time looking at things to make me feel better about Carlos.
Yeah, God, what a fucking shit Mr. Consistency is.
All right. That's George Russell. For
I think he would drive over a fucking child to win the Grand Prix. Like, if he was in Monaco and a kid scampered over a railing and was like chasing a little balloon, and everyone was supposed to like he should pull over or something, I think he would not. I think he would plow through a kid and then be like, that kid crossed right in front of me, crikey, and then go on to win and still do the champagne splashing, even though he had murdered a kid.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Just wanted to get that out there.
What was I sent the tweet of like all of the recent things that he did, which was he caused a crash in Silverstone and ruined Checo's race and nearly killed him, ruined Checo's race in Austria. The tweet by this guy, Dan Castle, just said, France, not a crash, but he still annoyed me. Which made me really hard. Singapore broke Bottas's front wing and ruined Mick's race with contact. And then the USA ruined Carlos's race. Like, what is he doing? It's crazy.
Wow. It really is. Is he the one who has like caused the most accidents, you think? There must be a list somewhere.
I can't imagine
there must be a list.
Probably, I mean, it's probably Latifi.
Right, yeah. But maybe he's second. Maybe it's just the Williams way.
That's how they teach them over there. In fourth place, Sergio Perez.
I think
Pretty
of the penalty.
stuff.
I really do.
I thought the Charles versus Sergio stuff was pretty fun.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Especially when Charles passed him. That was dope.
Yeah.
Charles was
was
battling both Red Bulls, and it was pretty great to watch.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
He had to do it by himself.
That's true.
Also, like, I guess that's more Charles related, but Checo's dad just at the race looking so happy all the time, which was fun to see.
I like Checo's dad. I really loved at the Mexico GP, whatever it was 2 years ago when Checo won, and it was like he was so happy. That was fun.
Even like I think there was a recent race where some of the dads were there, and it was like his dad and Hamilton's dad just like all being friends. I was like, this is cute.
I don't know. I don't know much about Checo's, career path. If he was one of these guys that was racing go-karts with all the other kids, did he do that at all? Like, do these F1 dads all know each other from like Little League go-karting, basically?
I don't know about Checo. I imagine that some of the other families do. But I also feel like I only ever really hear or see like Hamilton's dad, Max's dad, who's a piece of shit, and Checo's dad. I don't know. I don't think I could like pinpoint any other. Well, and Larry Stroll, obviously. I don't think I could pinpoint any other dads in the crowd.
Yeah, isn't
it's a
like
shame.
Checo like Carlos's Slim's like whatever benefactor? Like, Carlos Slim, he's like this big Mexican businessman. I just remember like people were like, I think he like bankrolled Checo's career. Maybe I'm making that up. I don't know. But I
don't know who you're talking about.
Races, whatever. And like the races he's won, he's like kind of there, and you're like, oh, is that Checo's dad? You're like, oh no, that Checo's dad's that guy standing next to him. I don't know what the relationship is there. It's a little weird.
We'll have to look into that. Maybe.
Yeah. Hopefully, I didn't just blow the roof off this.
You didn't.
No.
First on the podium, Charles Leclerc. He had a great race. Last week I said I was upset at his competitive nature. I felt like he was just accepting the loss, like races ahead of his, being out of the running for the world title. But this week he was fucking driving, man. He I loved watching him battle Checo and then battling Max. Even though and then Max came back and beat him, but it was so good.
Like couple things when like Max passed him and then he's like, nope, and he came right back. That was great driving.
I love that.
That was awesome.
Yeah, love to see it.
Yeah.
Finally got lucky with a pit stop, which I like on their safety car, which I feel like hasn't happened to him in a long time. And so that was really exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, him and Hamilton, it's like, oh man, these teams actually do have a strategy when they want to.
Speaking of Hamilton, Lewis Hamilton in second place. There was a while there where I thought he was going to win the race.
Me too.
He gave it everything he had.
So happy about it. I was ecstatic. I wanted it so bad.
He gave it everything he had.
He did. He put it all out there. And, thank you to the team. Great strategy. Great pit stops. He's really proud of himself.
Fans.
And the team. Thank you to the fans.
Thank you to the crowd. It's the best crowd they've had at the American.
We've had.
Yeah.
I'll get into it later, but I loved how much he complained about Max at the end of the race. Everyone I was watching it was like, shut up, stop complaining. I was like, no, this is great. I want the fact that you can pay attention to that and also be driving and paying attention to yourself. Incredible. Like just the fact that he was doing that alone is crazy to me. But I also just liked him pettily like trying to find any way to win.
Yeah. That was so funny, but like it just trying to find a way to win the race. Like at that point, he's like, my car will not keep up with him, but I can at least try and get a penalty on him if I spot it, which is like a race IQ through the roof,
Yeah.
I think what was he trying to get? I couldn't hear anything.
Yeah, so he went off the track, like all four tires over the white line, a few times, and Hamilton kept saying over comms, "He's over the line. He's over the line."
Yeah, but then he got the same
he
warning.
goes over the line.
So then they just gave warnings to both of them. They said both of you guys have exceeded limits too many times.
Yeah.
And so then
they both got the
told
black and
Max
white flag and was like,
play it safe from here.
2 laps to go. If one of them made a mistake, they'd go a 5-second penalty.
Yeah.
So they had to like rein it in.
Yeah, but I love that he was
Max was going.
trying to get
Max
him
was
on
going
it.
over going over track limits a lot. Checo was too.
I mean, they were dinging people by the end.
Yeah.
I mean, a couple people got
little
actual
too
penalties.
late.
I think. Well, they go all race. I mean, it takes they got to do it 3 times over the course of a whole race, so it makes sense that it happens near the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Look, I think they're just trying to run a clean, safe race. I don't know why people are so up in the FIA's business,
Well, Christian
let
Horner
them
is
do their
outside your
job.
window.
With holding a gun.
Ginger
this photo
spice
for you guys.
sniper rifle.
Great shot.
Can you guys see this?
Yeah.
My selfie was gone. Oh yeah, there we go. Cool. Nice.
Very
Nice.
good.
Jake showing
that's
us.
tight.
I forgot to send it to I didn't send it to the track because there was no service because there were so many people.
In first place, Max Verstappen.
Okay.
Who
the
gives a
guy
fuck?
Get, basically a 12-second penalty, comes from behind, still wins. By the way, could have broken track limits. I think finished 4.5 seconds ahead of Hamilton. Almost
5.
won again if he were to bet another penalty. It's like completely inevitable that he was going to win. It's insane.
Yeah.
Insane.
The fact that he came back after that pit stop, which was the best thing that's ever happened to me in my entire life. I was falling asleep
pit stop.
and that happened, and
I
I
was so
shot up.
happy.
I was
It's a season where everything goes right for that team, and now there's this brutal pit stop, and we get to see just a glimpse of Max again when things aren't going his way, and he
taking it out.
beautiful.
took it out on him.
Fucking beautiful.
So rude.
Asshole.
And then even at the end when they won, they were like, "Congratulations, Max! Like drivers' championship and constructors' championship." Just be like, yeah, hell yeah. But instead he's like, yeah, like it was like really like you guys deserve this. Like there was that pit stop, but you guys really deserve this. I'm like, dude, fuck you. You already won the whole fucking thing.
Oh, funny.
It doesn't matter.
It was all looking great up until that pit stop.
Yeah. And you didn't even need to win
had to
first
It does look great.
to win the
looks great.
constructors. Whatever.
That was the loudest I got. The loudest our entire section got was during that pit stop. Everyone was fucking going nuts. It was awesome.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I would have guessed there'd be a lot of Red Bull fans there. What team do you think had the most fans showing support?
I think probably either Ferrari or Mercedes, at least to my eye.
Interesting.
I totally would have thought it'd be Red Bull.
It's definitely Red Bull, there's a big Red Bull presence, but I think that McLaren is actually even more prevalent than Red Bull down there.
Wow.
I think people probably in Texas especially love Danny.
Yeah, there's
That
definitely
makes
a lot
sense.
of McLaren fans.
How much he was soaking it in. He must love it down there, and they must love him.
Yeah, well, maybe he could get a job at Torchy's now.
Here's your taco.
Hawking queso.
He's a queso.
So that's the U.S. Grand Prix. Let's get into our hotties of the week.
I thought emo Carlos was pretty hot. The black and white photo, super sad, but not hot. I guess more just like sweet and sexy.
Yeah,
Like
sure. Did you DM him?
I DM'd him this week, yeah, but he didn't respond.
He's never going to.
I posted a video where he was riding his bike around the track and he had his shoelace untied. So I just wanted to let him know.
Oh yeah, that's dangerous.
Really kind of you.
I was trying to draft something to comment on his post where he said that he was going to keep pushing. I was going to say you should push George Russell into
the garbage,
a swimming pool, a wall. Like, see, I wanted to convey that he should locker. That's good. I wanted to convey that he should shove George Russell, not like crash into him. Yeah. I didn't want anyone to think that I was like saying,
kill this man.
Condoning violence. Yeah.
No, I think you should still post. You should still post.
Push him into a locker.
George into a locker, because Ferrari did make that a really great edit for their TikTok where they just put clips like to the Full House theme and made like an American sitcom edit, which I thought was really cute.
That's great. Okay,
there's a lot of good stuff going on social media.
Yeah, I love their little hats that they were wearing with the little sheriff badges.
Oh my God, this is so corny.
And man, they must all really love coming to the States, because they don't seem to dress up and have as much fun, in Monaco or whatever. It's they're like, we're in Texas.
Live in Monaco.
Okay, fair.
I feel like a lot of drivers were like, I love this track. Like, this is so much fun, and it's like a lot of chances to overtake. I think people like the U.S. Grand Prix.
Mm-hmm. It's a fun track and a huge crowd.
Yeah.
And the giant flags are pretty dope. Like those helicopter shots where they would like fly up with a huge flag, and then that like S turn that they have. And then the
that was where I was sitting.
It's so dope. It's like an awesome track.
That's a great spot to sit. That's like, it was my favorite part of the track, and you were sitting right there. Yeah. That's crazy.
That was all Jill. She went on Reddit. I believe she talked to Marika as well.
She didn't, so she did it all by herself.
Oh, really?
I'm very proud of her.
Oh, well done, Jill.
Good for her.
My hottie of the week, Fernando Alonso, as I said before. Hot driving equals hot guy, I guess.
Actually, mine is Brad Pitt.
I'm going to go opposite of Casey. I think my hottie of the week is Lance Stroll.
Oh my God.
Solely
She's a convert. Holy shit.
Solely
Stroll
for the
trolls unite.
Instagram photos that he took where he looked like he was fucking in Friday Night Lights, just tossing a football into the air. I was like, what is happening? How is this possible?
Well, he's Canadian. He's not European like the rest of them. He's got some sense of what's going on.
He still looks so dumb all the time. And then suddenly I was like, oh, this is the vibe that you should have. Like, this is your niche. I saw it at like 7 a.m. and I think I just posted it to the Pitwall Instagram with a bunch of question marks. I was like, what is happening?
All right.
I'll go with Charles Leclerc. I don't know if you guys watched any of the social media going on like the past, I don't know, maybe it was Thursday or something, but they were driving actual Ferrari, whatever. I don't know what model of Ferrari it was. They were taking people on drives, and like, that is the fucking coolest job. Other than being a race car driver for Ferrari, the fact that when you're not driving a Ferrari race car, you're driving a Ferrari is dope.
You're driving Brad Pitt around in a Ferrari.
Yeah, that's so sick. So anyway, congratulations to Charles Leclerc for hanging out with a bunch of celebrities and driving Ferraris all weekend. That looks pretty fun.
And what did you do?
I went to a model train show.
We talked about this earlier, and Jeff was not even here for that. Yeah, so incredible that you chose that moment.
That's very funny. My hottie of the week goes to my buddy Jameson because he works in music as a producer, and he was literally in the studio with Lewis Hamilton this week. Jameson's at the board right there in the white t-shirt and the hat, and Lewis is right behind him.
Wow.
That's sick.
That's sick.
Yeah. Apparently Lewis sings.
Tunes, or
he said that Lewis sings and that he's kind of good. But yeah, that's Jameson and Lewis. Kind of with the same expression on each other's faces.
Yeah, they look like they're having a blast.
Yeah.
Those are the hotties of the week. And now it's time for the little bitch of the day.
Yes.
We all better have the same answer.
I have an answer.
Okay. I mean, it's George Russell. It's absolutely George Russell.
Ooh, mine's not George Russell, but he is.
Mine isn't George Russell, but
mine's not George Russell.
I mean, there were a lot of them, but
yeah.
There were really a lot of little bitches in this fucking race.
Yeah. Well, tell us why George Russell, even though we've talked about it.
Because he bullied my guy.
Yeah.
Because he fucking dive bombed, crashed Carlos out on the lap 1. And I was there to see him. George Russell didn't just ruin Carlos's day; he ruined mine.
Yeah,
and it was my birthday present. So yeah,
it kind of ruined your birthday.
Yeah, he basically ruined my birthday.
Interesting.
My birthday weekend, so it kind of ruined my birthday on top of that too.
Wow. He's a birthday ruiner. He's a party pooper, is what he is.
My little bitch of the day is Max Verstappen. You don't win a championship and then a constructors championship and then immediately after the race, how does it feel you're champion? And he's like, that pit stop. Like, shut up. Shut up. You won the race. You won the race.
There's nothing more that you could win that day. You won the race. You already are the driver champion, and your team, because of you, won the. I'm just like, fuck off.
And he also
broke
the record.
Yeah.
Did he break it or tie it?
Tied it.
Tied it 13 in a single season, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, just go fucking have sex. Like, that's why you're so fucking upset all the time. Just like have sex. You're 28 or whatever.
You're allowed.
Is he 28?
I don't know how old he is. He's probably younger than that, but I'm still.
I think he's 25.
I have the same birthday as his sister.
25.
I found out this weekend.
This dude's only 2 months older than me. That sucks.
Yeah.
My little bitch of the day is Christian Horner's jeans.
Thank you. Thank you.
They looked so bad. Just like.
Well, they were. Did you notice the brand?
No, what was the brand?
They were very obviously diesel jeans.
They were just like loose around his ass and then like skin tight from the knee down.
Yeah, I was like, I've never thought about his pants, but I was like, this looks wrong. Like
different.
He doesn't
than normal.
usually wear jeans.
There's a
I
reason
don't
for
know
the
what he wears,
jeans.
but it
into
definitely
those
doesn't wear
jeans.
this. Yeah.
There's a reason
He
for
looked
the jeans.
really bad. And maybe I'm just jealous because he's married to what is it, Ginger Spice?
Yes.
And I'm like, you're married to this man. He can't even dress his bottom half.
And the top half is a uniform, so he can't really dress that either.
Yeah, Red Bull, they were wearing jeans because Didi, who's, we can't say his name or apologize.
We're casual fans.
Passed
We
away.
don't
We're
care
casual fans. This guy none of us has ever heard of passed away.
Never heard of him in my entire
Apparently
life.
started
All they
both
talked
Red Bull
about today.
teams.
Yeah. R.I.P. to a legend.
Yeah, for sure.
He would wear jeans at the track. So everyone at Red Bull was wearing jeans in his honor. And I must say, no one in the Red Bull paddock has a well-fitting pair of jeans. Everyone's jeans look like they fit very poorly on them.
Yeah, very European.
I want to read the jeans. Christian Horner's wife, Ginger Spice, posted photos of them and Ed Sheeran, who's also there.
Mm-hmm.
And just the to see two music legends and then Christian Horner with these awful pants.
Oh my God, they're so
funny.
tight.
They're so fucking bad.
He's wearing
And there's like a photo of them conspiring. Like it's like they're leagues above him.
Wow.
Ginger Spice, first of all, she looks great, but she wears the same thing
white all the time, white or cream.
But I feel like it's that same dress, even. Like I feel like all of Drive to Survive, that was like the only thing she wore.
She might just like not have a lot of clothes. She really just might not be able to like afford a ton of clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't
That's
know. We
sad.
can't really get into their personal finances that we don't know about.
We don't know what their finances are.
My little bitch of the day goes to Lewis Hamilton, but it's a positive little bitch of the day because he was just being really petty and I loved it. And I really respected that energy from him. So that's my vote.
The champion finds a way to win.
Also, Martin Brundle, but
book.
a negative one because of how mad he was at Brad Pitt.
There you have it. There's the U.S. Grand Prix. The standings, Red Bull has won the Drivers' Championship. Red Bull has won the Constructors' Championship. Charles Leclerc currently in second place in the Drivers' Championship with 267 points. Sergio Perez is in third place with 265 points. So those guys have some racing to do. Falling down a little bit further, George Russell with 218 points. And 16 points behind him is Carlos Sainz, who, unfortunately, with this DNF, is probably not getting anywhere near a podium. In the Constructors' Championship, Red Bull has won. Ferrari is in second place with 469 points. Mercedes falling behind with 416 points. That's probably going to be second and third place, if I had to guess. But the fight for fourth place is still on between Alpine and McLaren. Alpine has 144 points. McLaren has 138 points. So, Danny, stop being so sad and start racing that car.
For fourth. For fourth. For a team you don't care about anymore.
That's the U.S. Grand Prix. Up next is the Mexican Grand Prix next weekend. In Jeff's and I's time zone, if you can believe it.
Whoa.
Wow.
That's huge.
It's huge for us.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow. What time does it start?
I haven't checked yet.
5 a.m.
Cool.
We should rate this race, right?
We should rate this race. The way we rate the races here. If it's a good race, it's a push. If it's a bad race, it's a box. I thought this race was full of excitement, a lot of action, some great racing. I'm giving it a push.
Yeah, I think I've previously been on the record saying if it has a flying car, it's a push. So push.
Yeah. I mean, I was there. I don't think it could have been a box. If I watched at home, I would have turned it off and called the whole thing a box. But it was a really exciting race. I watched the whole thing with a brisket sandwich and a Heineken. So
man,
it felt pretty solid. It's push from me, dog.
I've never seen a race that's been more of a push for me. Don't love the results necessarily, but I had the most fun watching this race of any race that I've ever seen.
Hell yeah.
And part of that is the fact that it was at noon.
Jake, would you go back to?
Yes, definitely. Absolutely. 100%.
What was the weather like in Austin in November? Because I would maybe go.
It was hot. It was like 80. It was 86. But there was a really stiff breeze. Not like super windy, but I was not uncomfortable. So yeah, it was nice.
Yeah.
I love that. I also just read the podium celebration. Wanted to point out how insane the entire series of events was. I was waiting for the Shackmobile to arrive. Was really excited for that. Knew it was going to happen. But then they had Helmut Marko go up for the podium. And when they were dousing everyone with champagne, he was just like only putting it on Lewis Hamilton, which felt weird to me. And I couldn't tell if it was like he didn't see Max or it was racism or what it was going on. But I thought it was really weird that he was just like dumping the champagne only on Lewis. Maybe he got some in his eyes and then just couldn't see for the rest of the time. But I don't know. I want to start a conspiracy there.
That's good.
Yeah.
Marika, how do you rate the race?
Oh, push, push as well from me. Loved it. Yeah, just like Jeff said, not a huge fan of the results, but it was very entertaining to watch. And I watched with some friends some who care about it, and then some that don't really care about it. And while one of those friends became a Max Verstappen fan throughout this race, it was still fun to watch.
Fuck them.
Wow, they'll learn.
He just thinks he's hot. So
I mean,
He's
if I could do it all
not.
over again, if I could do it all over again, I'd also become a Max Verstappen fan. I think that'd be awesome.
There you go, folks. It's a full push. We're giving it all we got this week. The U.S. Grand Prix. Love to hear it. Yeehaw.
Yeehaw.
You can, if you are listening to this podcast, you can watch it on YouTube, on the Headgum YouTube channel. If you're watching it on YouTube, you can listen and subscribe on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. Give us a rating, 5 stars on those apps, websites.
yeah.
You can follow us on Instagram at PitwallPod. You could follow us on TikTok at PitwallPod. Marika's over there posting a lot of memes on Instagram. I respond LOL to them.
Whenever Casey responds LOL, I'm like, yeah, I did a good job.
You can follow me on Twitter at Casey Donahue.
You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at Marika Elon.
You can follow Carlos Sainz on Instagram and let him know to check his DMs and give me a follow, as it were, because that way we could be in contact and we could be friends. That's Carlos Sainz with the Z55 on Instagram. Thanks, everyone.
At Jeff Boyardi on Twitter. Something big coming this Friday.
Wow. Wow.
This is the picture of your bare ass.
Yeah. Don't be coy about it.
Jake, are you free on Friday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern?
Yeah.
I need you.
to send you that picture of your ass.
An HR violation.
For Headgum podcast record. They're kind of one and the same, but
fair enough.
Andrew doesn't have any plugs. His mic is unplugged. So I guess that's a great time to end the show. We'll see you at the next race, which is next week, folks. Vroom vroom to all, and to all, a beep beep.
That was a Headgum original.